Right. Walked over and looked. Papers were filled with tiny cramped handwriting, no doubt written by a hurried hand. In a sense, our lives consist of a long series of chemical changes, mediated by what amounts to a set of electric signals from the brain. These signals are data. These data are memories. As for these memories, what are they? What was this? Some kind of scientific treatise? It's not known how memories are formed, or how they fit inside the confines of our brains. It's likewise not known how an individual can call an individual memory at will, and will live it as if it were the real thing. We have sensory organs which accept all stimuli and transmit them through nerves to the brain. The brain records and synthesizes these impulses, reconstructs for us the reality that we see and feel and taste and hear. Theoretically, then, if it were possible to reverse engineer this program, it would be possible to reproduce or even create memories at will. In practice, this is not possible yet. If it were, I have no way of storing memories externally or synthesizing new ones. Also, there's too much that is unknown about the brain and its operating systems at this point in time. What I have demonstrated, however, is that it is possible to extract the one memory that lies at the root of a test subject's neural networks. In other words, I've proven that I can reconstruct the one memory, without omission or flaw, that a test subject would choose to preserve at the expense of all others. On the right margin of this paper, there's a diagram of a black butterfly. Its caption, Trigger Device. I looked up at the swarm of butterflies overhead. I felt sick to my stomach. I had no faith in my own memories. What in this diary is true? What is not? What do I really feel? What did my mind simply manufacture? I had no way to know. Therefore, I become the first test subject for this when the system becomes fully operational. It is my fondest desire to know the truth about this reality, about myself. The writing ceased here. Continue on to the next page. I was reaching to pick that page up from the desktop, but I stopped when I read what was written on the top. It's my fondest desire to know the truth about this reality, about myself. Or so I thought. Then I got bored and stopped. What? What the hell kind of scientific report ended this way? I was completely disgusted by now, but there is still a little more to read. Well, I've gotten this far. Might as well finish it. Besides, then the butterfly fluttered down from the ceiling, landed on my forehead. I brushed it off, only to see a very familiar form standing before me. What was this? A reconstruction of memory of which the treatise spoke? I rubbed my eyes frantically, but this was no dream. She was there in front of me, in truth, not in a dream. La, I was looking for you. La jumped in surprise, then she turned, slowly, and walked towards me. Even more slowly, she looked blanked and stunned. Are you okay?
Yeah. Black Iris?
Hmm?
No, it's nothing.
She shook her head slowly, then she noticed the piece of paper in my hand.
What is that?
Some kind of experimental report. Really boring stuff. Worst handwriting I've ever seen. The letters all squiggly and crumpled. Really hard to read.
Hmm?
But fortunately for us, this report also tells us how to exorcise the ghosts in this house. So let's do that. Get out of here. I just looked up at the butterflies in the ceiling. Then she looked back at me. Then she nodded softly. We talked about the contents of the report as we walked towards Aroma. The sun was hanging low in the western sky by now. A long shadows beat tattoos on the streets and storefronts of our city. Lala's outlines were soft and gentle in the orange light of this dying day.
So, what you mean is, when a butterfly contacts your head, you relive a memory. the memory dearest to you?
Something like that. But there's no practical application, as the butterflies only really function inside that room. Though I suppose you chose to seclude yourself there. Anyway, it's scheduled to be demolished. Once that happens, it'll never function ever again.
And you won't report this to your superiors?
Correct. True enough, the research and the science behind it would be lost forever. I didn't tell someone else about it. Perhaps there's something wrong about that. But it's far more wrong to continue to use this technology against the will of the original creator.
I see.
I just smiled at this.
Hey, Black Iris, what did you see?
Nothing. Nothing at all. Said lightly. La looked at me strangely for a moment, then focused her eyes on the road ahead. We walked together in silence for a time.
Black Iris.
Hmm?
Well... Would you mind holding my hand?
I could see the blush rise to her face, could feel the pleading in her eyes. But she saw how startled I was by this. I quickly started retracting her request.
We don't have to do it if you don't want to. Not for long. How about until that lamp? Would that be okay?
She pointed at a street lamp that was just starting to flicker on, less than a block away. We can hold hands until we get to Roma. You want? I don't mind.
That would be embarrassing.
You think? I smiled and held out a hand. Law took it, held it tight as if it were the most precious thing in the world. Less than a dozen steps to the lamp. I wanted this time to last, so it slowed down, and I asked, "Did you see anything, La?" La looked up at me. She didn't look like she knew what to say, but then she finally nodded.
I did. I was happy. Even if it was a ghost, I didn't care. It was wonderful.
I'm happy for you then.
Sure. But you know,
She squeezed my hand gently, continued on.
in the end, it wasn't real.
She smiled up at me. I did not smile back. All I could think of was how the report concluded. My fondest desire to know the truth about this reality, about myself. So I thought, but then I got bored and stopped. Besides, truth exists, already found it. My life, the joy and the pain, the uplift and the sorrow, doesn't belong inside the confines of this small room. It belongs right here in my own two hands. Who's this? Rook, maybe?
You know what I really hate? Losing. Sucks, doesn't it? So if you're going to play at all, don't screw around. Play to win. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Is that still me or is that narration?
It sounds like Rook's talking, just that manner style.
Okay. Now, what do good girls do? I'll get straight to the point. They wolf down everything I set in front of them and ask for seconds. I guess that means the girl who's currently gracing my counter with her presence is an awfully good girl. Dude, just watch her eat, I tell ya. Of course, I got no problem with that. How could I? La's a real sweetheart after all, and a bona fide cutie. Now, Black Iris and La, they come round these parts 2-3 times a week, maybe. This is pretty special, you see. In all the time I've known the man, He's never brought a single one of his guests over here, until now. Guess I don't blame him. He's not used to his guest being a girl. Probably has no idea what to do. You get what I'm saying? Anyway, he's not here right now. I'm guessing he's gone off to HQ to make his progress report or something like that. It's been what, 3 weeks now since he started treating La? Makes sense that the higher-ups would want to know what he's been up to in that time, eh? So what's La doing here, you ask? Relax. I'm just getting to that. Black Iris probably thought La'd be bored all by her lonesome. I'm guessing that's why he brought her here. Said he had some errands to run and stepped out after that. Haven't seen him since. I tell you, man, sometimes I have no clue what's going on in that big head of his. I've been watching him and La for weeks now. Sometimes he's the biggest blockhead alive. Others, he's got it wrapped around his little finger, you know? Anyway, looks like our little princess is all done. Not a thing left on her plate. Awesome. And she's looking up at the shelves around the counter. Probably admiring my bottle collection.
Rook, I've been meaning to ask, what are those?
This I like. She's so open, so to the point. When she's happy, she laughs. When she's sad, she cries. And when she's curious, she asks. I guess that's why I never, give her the straight dope first. Too much fun, you hear? Oh, those? Tools of the trade, little lady. Tools of the trade.
Oh, spices? Flavorings?
Not quite. Try again. I'm talking about a slightly different trade. My real one, you know?
Your real trade? But I thought you were the owner and operator of Aroma.
And you're not wrong either. But I guess Black Iris never told you. I'm a mnemonicide, actually. Whoa, dude. Look at the doubt in her eyes. That's harsh, man. That's harsh. I swear it's true. Straight from my lips to God's ears. I guess you've never seen me at work, though. Too bad. I put on this serious, depressed face. I get a kick out of how La reacts when I do that. I pick up a few bottles from the shelves. Then I lay them down one by one on the counter, kind of like I'm dealing cards for La to inspect. These, little lady, are what they call essential oils. Judging from the way she's looking at me, I don't think she knows what they are. Alright, fair enough. So I'll open a bottle up, put a few drops on a handkerchief and let her sniff it.
Smells like flowers.
Doesn't it though? Now don't be sniffing too much, La. Wouldn't do for me to steal you away from Black Iris, would it now? And sure enough, she hands it back to me. Looks kind of reluctant though. This is how I roll. Fresh start too. 2 birds with 1 stone, see? They're expensive though. Run out too fast. Black Iris has it made, eh? Him and his eyes.
A fresh start.
Yep. Helps you really relax, rest, meditate, whatever. And when you're all done, boom, fresh start.
I see.
What do you know? She's picked one of the vials up and she's staring at it with newfound respect.
And is this expensive?
Huh? Well, yeah, it wasn't cheap. None of them are. And I have to have all sorts, just in case. Why, do you want one? She nods silently. There's definitely something about the way she's looking today, though. Like she's got something on her mind. What, feeling down recently?
Yeah. Oh, me? Black Iris.
Oh, for crying out loud, girl. Who do you think you are? The reincarnation of Mother Teresa or something? Can't help but laugh here. Black Iris, eh? Sorry, I never took him for the sensitive sort.
Maybe that's wrong. Maybe he's not feeling down. Don't. All I can say, sometimes he gets quiet and cold.
And you're worried about that? She looks down for a moment, all quiet and bashful like. Then she looks up and quietly she nods. Damn you, Black Iris. Next time we meet, I'm gonna open up a can of whoop-ass on you. No need to worry your pretty head about that, little lady. He just finished treating a guest not too long ago, right? You know, the one with the braids.
Yeah.
Most any mnemonicide is going to shut himself up like that after he finishes treating someone.
Oh, really?
Of course. It all depends on the individual. But let me tell you something. This whole erasing memories thing, it always leaves a really bad taste in your mouth. Sure, our guests come to us because they want to forget, but as for us, we know better. Memories are like people, you know? They don't want to die either. Kinda makes you wonder. And that's why Black Iris is behaving that way. But you know, we can wonder for as long as we want, and it won't change a single thing. I promise, La. Black Iris will be back to his normal self sooner or later. Probably sooner if you get what I mean.
I see. Thank you.
Oh wow, look at that smile on her face. Man, I'm weak. Weak! If she asks me for anything, I'm gonna end up giving it to her at this rate.
Rook, have you known him for long?
Why'd you ask?
You seem to know a lot about him. And you two get along so well.
La, please tell me you're joking. I'm making some sort of face. I must be, seeing as how La's looking back and blinking like that.
Am I wrong?
Indeed you are. This is just between you and me. Got it, little lady? Well, whatever. He probably knows already. I used to hate his guts.
Really?
Really. What, you want to hear more?
I
For a moment there, I thought she was going to give up. So much the better, though. So much the better. Alright, this is going to be a long story. First things first, let's clear off La's plates and silverware. Oh, and how about a digestive? Hot milk will do. And coffee for me, of course. Now, gotta think about how to say this. It's all ancient history, after all. You probably won't believe a word I'm saying, but I used to be real high class. See? You don't believe it, do you? Well, it doesn't matter to me either way, so don't worry, I won't get mad. Anyway, in our province, there wasn't a single, and I mean not a single person who didn't know of us. I was the sole heir. Can you believe it? I wasn't a very nice guy back then.
not nice?
Yeah, I did all sorts of things that I shouldn't. See, no one could tell me no. And even if something broke, like a car or a law, I had money coming out of my ears. Then there was my family. You'd be amazed by how many problems go away when you're rich and famous, kiddo. Anyway, I'd had enough of all that. Seriously cramping my style, you know? I wanted a path of my own. A different one. I was such an idiot, huh? But you know what really sucked? I had talent. I had the skills to do just about anything I set my mind to. I was totally fearless. Wasn't afraid of anything. Succeeded in everything. Filthy rich. That's why no one ever got mad at me. No one ever punished me. No one ever set me straight. But then, the day I turned 17, a black car stopped at our estate. Bunch of government agent types. Black suits, goons, you know. They brought a message from the powers that be. Your son has been found to have high mnemonicidal potential. We will take over his schooling and training from this point on. You know what I thought? That this was bound to happen. That this was awesome. Mnemonicides are the creme de la creme, the elite, the professionals that every mom wants her son to grow up to be. So I thought it was obvious. After all, how could a brilliant genius like me not be selected?
That's not very nice.
As I said, I wasn't a very nice guy back then. But honest to God, that's really what I thought back then. Now everyone knows. Once you become one of us, you're not leaving this town. But my family never stopped me. They were overjoyed. So proud to have a mnemonicide in the family, you know? So I came to this here town, my head held high and all. That's when I met Black Iris. That's right, kiddo. He and I were classmates.
I see. So you became friends then?
Not at all. Exactly the opposite. Can you believe it? Now, people get picked to become mnemonicides all over the country, and they all come here. All shapes and sizes, all ages, men, women, children, like Black Iris and me back then. He and I, we were probably the closest in age among all our classmates. But we never talked much.
And why?
Because I didn't like him. No interest in him whatsoever. See, I came to be a mnemonicide. I didn't come to make friends. I was going to be the best there was, just like always. But you know what? Even I have to admit it. Black Iris blew us all out of the water. But he doesn't put on a big show. He just does his thing all quiet-like, so nobody noticed.
But you, on the other hand, you put on a big show every day.
Hey, can you blame me? I liked the spotlight. I liked being the center of attention. I liked being admired. Anyway, at some point I decided that Black Iris was my enemy. No way. No way I was going to lose to that chump. No, valedictorian honors belonged to me. Around that time there was talk that one of our classmates was an Omega. Class Omega mnemonicides. Now what do you think? Can we say much about him? No one's ever seen one. There's no mention of them anywhere in our official case files. They're myths, or they're ghosts. I knew of Annalie? I don't know how you say that.
Go whatever you say.
I knew of Annalie. After all, who hasn't heard of Annalie, the Alpha of Omegas? But I had my doubts. Did he really exist? I'd never met him after all. And the only record anyone has of him, the only record anyone had of him was his books. Talk about fishy. Anyway, we were ranked according to skill. Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, Epsilon, in order from most to least powerful. We were all rivals in that, so to speak. But an Omega? Here among us? Couldn't believe it. More likely, I was petty and jealous. No freaking way anyone was going to be better than me.
I see.
Yeah, I can look back at it and laugh now. It's okay, you can go ahead too. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. So I got a few of my peeps together in order to find out who this Omega was. Now, we knew that guests could only leave town via the 8th Street gate, which meant if Omegas existed at all, they'd have to come there. After all, your memory can't be completely erased until you have an Omega do it, you know? So we snuck into the guard post. It was child's play. Guard on duty was a classmate of mine after all. Then we hid there and waited until nightfall. We were going to wait till the military police changed shifts and then slip out of town entirely. And out there, we'd find out whether Omegas existed or not. Besides, I wanted to make a fool of Black Iris. His guard shift was up next after all.
That's low.
Oh, come on, little lad, don't be like that. We were young and dumb, you know? Me in particular. Anyway, things didn't go to plan. At all. Now that I think about it, there was no way the plan would have worked anyhow. The guard post was completely locked down after dark, you dig? We were totally trapped. No way to get out, and no way to get back into town either. Talk about stupid. I totally lost it then. If they found out what I'd done, I was going to be expelled. And if that happened, there was no way I could go back to my family. I'd end up as a fugitive, a wanted man. Isn't that something? I, who'd played at being an outlaw when I was young, was scared of the possibility now. And just then, who showed up but the devil himself, Black Iris? Now, he was our only chance to get back into town. But at the same time, there was no way he was going to help us. And no way he could, even if he wanted to. The MPs had the key to this guard post. We were locked in. Talk about hopeless. But Black Iris found one. He made this scary face. I tell you, it froze me to the bone. Then he picked the lock. It took him a couple of seconds. Boom, just like that. The way he was just standing there, cool, unflappable, sent shivers down my spine, I'm telling you. Just who the hell was this guy? So I asked him, "What you gonna do?" And guess what he said?
I don't know.
"It's none of my business if you want to commit suicide, but do it somewhere else. I'll be a mnemonicide at all costs. I don't need you to stand in my way." I mean, whoa! Makes my spine tingle just thinking about it, even now. What the hell kind of monster was he?
Wow, he's so different now.
I guess so, kiddo. He wasn't a very nice guy back then either, see? But that incident showed me something. I wasn't any match for him from the very beginning, and I never will be. I don't know where he came from. I don't know why he wanted to become a mnemonicide. But what I do know is this. There was no way a lazy fool like me who was skating by on his talents could ever rival him. After that, we were forced to work with each other, and that's how it all went down. Got all that, little lady? We actually don't like each other that much. But now she's shaking her head and smiling at me like an angel.
No, he thinks of you as a friend. He just acts otherwise because he can't help it either. He doesn't say yes, doesn't say no, doesn't say what he likes, doesn't say what he dislikes. In that sense, you're much more grown up than he.
I suppose. I do wonder though, why does he do that to himself? I shrug for her benefit. She laughs right on schedule. Man, she's cute. Cute as a button. So cute it sort of makes me want to try something. Our competition isn't over yet. Not by a long shot. That story I told you? That was just a mulligan. See, if you're going to play at all, you don't screw around. You play to win. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm going to live my life the way I want to. And someday, I'll be so much happier than he is. That's how I'm going to win. So let's cut to the chase, shall we, little lady? Want to become so much happier with me? I can see her eyes go round as saucers from across the counter. I mean, any other normal person would realize that it was a joke and laugh it off. But no, not little La here. She takes everything so seriously.
Uh,
And you know what else is fun to watch? The way her cheeks are getting redder and redder. Alright, time to move in for the kill. Except, who's that at the door?
So what do you think you're doing?
Black Iris looks none too pleased. He's got powder snow all over his coat. So it's started again. What do you think, man? I was confessing my undying love for her. Think I got rejected, though.
Good for you. La, are you okay?
yes.
Now, little La, remember, your lips are sealed, right? I wink, and sure enough, La blushes, right before nodding back.
What are you talking about?
Sorry, top secret.
Uh-huh.
La looks all cute now, smiling and laughing. Black Iris, on the other hand, just looks kind of disgruntled. I'll take it. Little pointless victory is better than none at all, eh? Man, it was easier than I expected. Alright, kids, it's getting late, so you'd better be heading home. Be careful out there, you hear? The roads are getting really bad. Wouldn't want either of you to slip and fall. They're walking down the street, both of them. La stopped to say goodbye to me while Black Iris strode outside, but now she's far ahead of him. Hopefully she won't fail. She won't fall. To me, and all the world, they look like lovers. But they aren't. They're a guide and his guest. That's really too bad, don't you think? He was a scary guy back then, Black Iris was. Always glacial, always mad, murderous even. But he's not like that anymore. Not these days. That isn't because he's gotten nice all of a sudden, though. It's just that he's not interested in any other people or himself. I'd be so much better in some ways if she weren't his guest. That's the truth. Straight from God's mouth to my ears. But that'll never happen, will it now? She has the right to have her psychic corrosion erased, to leave this town, to walk out into the world, to be happy again. Ah well, no use thinking about this. Might as well tidy up. Gotta put these files back where they belong. But wait, there goes the doorbell. I got a new customer. Never seen her around these parts before. And she's totally beautiful. Happiness, huh? Maybe this is the way it goes. So I straighten up, I put on my best smile, and I turn to her and say, "Welcome!"
If we accept the premise, we must, that killing a man's memory is equivalent to killing the man himself, then monomicide is a destroyer of worlds. Annalie was the one who wrote that. Now is the one who killed Annalie. Remember how heavy the gun felt in my hands? It was the weight of the world. Couldn't hold on to it. Let it all fall to the ground. A kitten came curled up next to the wretched man, next to the fallen alpha of Omegas. She started wailing. It was piteous. The kitten turned towards me. Her eyes narrowed. She cried out. Just once. I could see the look on her face. She knew. And I knew. She was saying, "Get away from me." I don't know why. Not even to this day. I don't understand it. Couldn't take another step. I like doing laundry when it was clear out like this. A nice sunny day was a rare thing indeed in this land of ice and snow. She was certainly making the best of it. I mean, she was bustling back and forth out there in the garden, hanging clothes out to dry, dancing about, a hint of a smile on her face even. I stood by the window and watched her for a while. She really did look like she was having fun out there. Good. Good. I was about to turn away when she suddenly stooped over. I wonder if she slipped on a patch of ice or something, but then she stood. She didn't seem hurt. When she turned towards me, she was holding a puppy in her arms. She looked worried, real worried. She cradled a little creature as if it were the most valuable thing in the world. The puppy was in bad shape, alright, where she limped and unresponsive in her arms. I watched as La gingerly made her way back inside. She sat at my side before I even heard the door close. She looked like she was about to cry.
I'm so sorry. I dropped a white sheet by accident on this little one.
Sure enough, there was this sheet, billowing about on the ground outside. We had to take care of that sooner or later, but this puppy was going to have to take priority. It licked, rather it made a feeble attempt to lick, my fingers when I reached out to touch it.
I shouldn't have, right? If I hadn't been doing laundry then.
We have nothing to wear. We'll really be sorry. In any case, this isn't your fault. I pick a dry towel out from the laundry basket, route the puppy up, and place it back into the basket. Then I head into the kitchen, open the refrigerator. Oh, good, we have some milk left. I poured some out into a pan and started warming it. I removed it from the heat before it started to boil, grabbed some bread, and came back to the living room. The puppy eyes suddenly snapped open. His black nose started twitching. His tail started wagging. I freed itself from the towel and jumped out of the laundry basket by the time I finished dunking the bread into the milk. La, hold the puppy for a bit, will you?
Okay.
She did as I said. I don't think she had an idea of what to make of the puppy's sudden vigor. Meanwhile, I waited for the milk to cool down. After a minute or two, I dipped a finger into the pan. Good, no scalding anymore. This would do. Put it down on the floor. Alright, you can let go now. The puppy jumped off her lap the moment she let go. I made a beeline for the pan, started demolishing its meal. Of course, La couldn't take her eyes off the puppy the entire time. It was probably just hungry. Reminding somebody, I scolded at me briefly, but she couldn't stay mad at me for long. Soon enough, a little smile came to her face as she watched the puppy lapping up the milk.
Bread and milk? Good enough?
Well, proper dog food would have been better, but we don't have any, so this will have to do.
And you've had pets before?
Why do you ask?
Well, you look like you know what you're doing, as if you've done this before.
I had a cat once. A kitten. Pretty cute little girl. She ran her own way before long, though.
Wait a second.
Last time I reached down and grabbed something on the puppy's neck. The puppy, of course, was too busy, wolfing down what must have been his first meal in days to notice. A collar, and on it, a gold-plated nameplate. So this is someone's pet. Can you make anything out?
Jackal.
So, that's his name. How wonderful.
Wait, there's something else. An address. On 7th Street.
7th Street? Came all the way out from there? No wonder he's in this condition. His meal obviously finished. Jackal came ambling towards where Law was, sitting on the living room floor. He turned around a couple of times and finally curled up with his head on her lap. He closed his eyes and settled into a contented sleep. His owner's probably a girl. Such a pushy little guy, don't you think?
Maybe. But his owner's probably worried sick. Probably looking for him. Can we go? Take him to 7th Street.
Sure. If you keep him here, he'll end up eating everything in the house anyhow. We get going once he wakes up. So we waited. Sat in a chair and read a book. Law, on the other hand, sat motionless on the ground, as if she did not wish to disturb the dog's sleep. Soon enough, Jackal roared a little, started shuddering. Law looked up at me as if she had no idea what to do. Still half asleep, that's all. Give him some time.
Really? Doesn't seem that way.
By now, Law had started shuddering herself. The Jackal finally opened his eyes with a big yawn, and he got to his feet. With a long, leisurely stretch, he looked up at us, unmistakable grin, and a wagging tail. Alright, let's go. Wait, do you allow pets in a trolley? No, they didn't. As a matter of fact, which meant we were going to have to hoof it.
We're going on a walk? How nice, huh, Jackal?
I looked at the two of them, and quite the sight. I didn't know who looked happier about this turn of events, Jackal or Law. Usually this kind of exuberance would annoy me, but for some reason, not today. So I shrugged. What could I do, after all? I attached the leash onto Jackal's collar, then we all walked out the door together. Now I had the leash in the very beginning, but Law kept looking at me so enviously that I had to hand it over to her. Although the way Jackal was surging ahead of now, there was some doubt as to who was walking whom. Law, keep your eyes on the road, otherwise you bump into something.
Alright.
So we walked along. Rather, I walked along. I was pulled and dragged this direction and that. You know how to say sometimes with pets it's hard to know who owns whom? In this case, the relationship was obvious. A large percentage of people in town kept pets. This made sense. Most of us were monomicides, living out solitary lives. Companionship was always welcome, no matter whether it was furry or scaled or finned. Still, I thought there was something terribly wrong with this. Why was it that pets were more welcome than people here in this walled garden, frozen with dullure and ice? 7th Street was an urban promenade, filled with narrow streets lined by tall buildings. We monomicides lived in these apartment complexes when we were off duty, here on 5th, where I had my place. When it came time to take a guest, we were given a more spacious residence for the duration of that assignment. Now La had never seen this place before. Usually, she'd skip along, taking in the sights and sounds at her own pace. There wasn't any chance of that today. Jackal was all over her. A woman, probably a monomicide, on her way back from the grocery shopping, stopped to watch the spectacle. Could hear her giggling softly as we walked by. It took us roughly an hour to find the address that had been written on Jackal's collar tag. We located the apartment number in a doorside directory and pressed the corresponding buzzer. No one answered.
Maybe no one's home? Now what?
Well, we can't just leave Jackal here and go home. We have to try again later.
Okay. I'm sure the owner is worried.
I looked hard at the buzzer one last time and then turned away. As did Jackal. Still such a nice day out, so we ended up walking all the way to Cafe Aroma on 6. Hear voices coming from inside. Now that was unusual. But then, when I listened a bit more closely, I realized, Rook was just listening to the radio.
Welcome. Hey man, you heard about what's been going on? Bad news, yo, bad news.
Rook turned to me with a troubled expression on his face, gesturing at the radio all the while. Why? What happened?
Should have known you'd have no idea. An anarchist group claims they planted a bomb at HQ. Now everyone was evacuated, so no real harm done, but still, man.
An anarchist group?
They aren't even worthy of that label. Just a bunch of selfish idiots with too much time on their hands, I'm telling you. Sums up a lot of anarchist groups. We ought to do the world a favor and kill them all.
Strong words. I've never seen him this upset before. Also kind of ironic, given what he told me of his past. I was standing at the door, unsure whether she ought to come in or not. That was considerate of her. After all, most restaurants don't allow pets inside.
Oh, hey, La. Wait, that dog.
You know him?
No, never seen him before. It's just a customer of mine lost a dog a couple of days ago. Mixed breed, black fur. Fits the description, don't you think?
Talk about finding clues in strangest places. La's face suddenly lit up. She strolled into Aroma with a spring in her step, with Jackal at her heels.
This customer. Regular? Coming today, perhaps?
Who knows? Usually comes round in the evenings, see?
We went over to the owner's apartment. No one's home.
You went during business hours, didn't you? No wonder. Probably still at work or something.
And this is monomicide?
Apparently. Didn't pry much, though, if you know what I'm saying.
Rook definitely placed a bowl of water in front of Jackal, a lunch in front of us.
Yo. You mind if I keep him for a bit?
Fine with me? Rook really did look eager to help. This would free me up from having to dog sit. But why was he doing this? I didn't know that he liked dogs.
See, the owner... She's this pretty little lady, worried to death about her dog, see? So if I can be of any assistance...
No, it wasn't that he liked dogs. It was that he was a horned dog. How could I forget? Anyway, it was a done deal. Rook took Jackal, and we took in lunch. After we finished, it was time for us to leave. La clearly didn't want to leave Jackal behind, but she knew that it was better this way. So she patted him on the head gently before heading out the door. Jackal closed his eyes with bliss. As we walked down 6 on our way home, I saw him watching us, or rather La, from the window. Obviously, she made a new friend. Time we went shopping, there were newsboys in the streets, reading the papers about and yelling at the tops of their lungs. How unusual, I thought. So when there's a little town have anything worth writing about? I bought a paper and went and turned out another bomb. This time was a public park on 4th Street. According to the article, the same anarchist group of the HQ bomb incident was to blame. Speaking of HQ, there was a general proclamation from the higher-ups next to the article. Isn't anything I hadn't heard 1,000 times over. Take extra care, protect your guests, report any suspicious activity immediately. Wasn't this all SOP anyhow? I reiterate it at this hour. What point would that serve? La peeked over my shoulder and read it along with me. She looked kind of worried, actually.
I wonder, what do they want?
Hard to say. As much as certain, either monomicides are behind this or we have people who snuck in pretending to be guests. Either way, it isn't good news.
A park. Lots of people. Is that what they want? To shake us up? To hurt us?
Interesting. I've never seen La this upset before, especially given the fact that the article didn't make any mention of anyone being killed or wounded. Well, they wanted to shake us up, so they succeeded in that. Hard to believe that there's someone out there who sneaked into this town just to blow stuff up. It wasn't just us. The entire country was shaken by this news, probably. Which meant there was a massive manhunt going on even as we stood in the street and read the newspaper. But the thing was, they hadn't caught the perpetrators the first time around either. How was I to have this much confidence they succeeded this time around? For that matter, how was I to have much confidence that someone at HQ wasn't feeding information to the terrorists? I headed over to Roma once the shopping was done. Opened the door and came face to face with a woman who was obviously just about to leave. I started stepping back so she could get out, but she was faster than I was, squeezed past me in the blink of an eye. In fact, her motion was so brisk that she actually did bump into me fairly hard on her way out. Now, it wasn't forceful enough to knock me over or anything, far from it, but I remember feeling something not quite right touch my arm. Which is why I just thrust my hands into my coat pockets and stood there in front of Aroma for a bit.
Black Iris? Something wrong?
La asked, obviously wondering why I wasn't going in already. Oh no, it's nothing. I replied with a smile. Rook was washing dishes when he walked in. He turned and shook his head slightly when he saw who we were.
Should have come a bit earlier, kids. Jackal's owner was here up till a few minutes ago, you see.
No kidding. So she's the one I bumped into on the way in?
Yeah, no doubt. Anyway, she said she wanted to thank you in person, so I gave her your current address. She told me she'd be coming round your place in the evening.
Alright. We took our usual seats at the counter. There's a manila envelope sitting there. La eyed it for a second.
Think this is hers?
More than likely. Not a very organized person, is she? First, she loses her dog, and now she's leaving stuff around everywhere. La picked up the envelope and gave it to me. Put it in my pocket. That woman really was going to come over later tonight. Might as well give it to her then. Besides, I beg a fish to fry at the moment. Hey Rook, that lady. Does she come here often?
Yeah, she's been coming every day for an entire week now. Know what the weird thing is, though? Today's the first time I've seen her at this hour. She always stops by at night, right before closing time.
Every day? Then I wonder. Perhaps she isn't on assignment right now. If she were, then there's no way she'd come in here alone. Rook stopped washing mugs for a moment. He turned and nodded.
Yeah, yes, you're right.
I wonder why she comes this often.
You gone loco, man? To eat, obviously. And to hook up with me. Alright. All jokes aside, she's probably just lonely or something.
Lonely?
You know, man, not everyone likes being all alone like you do. In fact, most of us prefer the opposite, thank you very much. Besides, if you're not on assignment, you're totally free. Nothing to do, no one to talk to. Makes sense that someone in that position would come to a place like this, don't you think?
Perhaps.
Come on, Black Iris, get with the program here. Don't you know what goes on in the heart of a lonely woman?
No. I don't want to know either. There was a sigh and a re-smile. On the other hand, well, let's just say she was eating up every single thing Rook was saying. I mean, the way her eyes were sparkling, I knew he had her hook, line, and sinker. Hope that nothing strange would come out of this. You know your customer well.
Well, yeah, of course. Besides, she's quite the looker and... Actually, there's something kind of odd about her.
He trailed off at this point and went on polishing mugs, staring at the door all the while. No matter what I said or did, I couldn't get him to say anything further. Got back to her place shortly before sunset. Lana was busy making dinner when there was a knock at her door. Now La had her hands full, literally, with hamburger meat, so I went to see who it was. I looked at the peephole and sure enough, there was someone standing there. I opened the door a crack.
Is this the residence of Black Iris? The Menomicide? I came to thank you for finding him. My dog. A few days ago.
For someone who lost track of her dogs and envelopes on a regular basis, it was rather punctual. Opening the door the rest of the way, sure enough there Jackal was, along with the young woman I bumped into at Aroma. Her face stiffened when she saw me. Maybe it was surprise. Maybe it was something else. Anyway, she took a step back, gave me a look that was closer to glare than anything. Bala came rushing out to the foyer before she or I could say anything further. The woman opened her mouth to say something, but snapped it shut when she saw La running towards her.
So, you're Jackal's master. Isn't that wonderful, Jackal? Aren't you happy to be with her again?
La squatted down to bring herself face to face with the dog. Then she looked up at her guest and inquired,
May I pet him? Again.
Oh, of course. He'd love it.
The woman finally let a smile creep onto her face. She handed over the leash to La, who took it gladly. Jackal, on the other hand, started jumping up and licking at La's cheeks, even more gladly. Obviously, he remembered who she was.
That tickles.
When she turned it back to me after watching La and Jackal frolic about, there's no hint of iciness left in her eyes anymore.
My name is Lips. I am a Menomicide. I came here to thank you for taking care of Jackal when he needed it most. So if there's anything I can do for you, please.
She said with a voice as clear as the winter sky. She bowed deeply. Her long hair spilled over her shoulders as she did so. Oh, no, we didn't do much. Want to thank someone, go see Rook. The guy who operates Aroma.
Oh, yes, I've already done so. Oh, and here. I didn't have any idea about how to thank you, so I brought you some sweets.
Lips held out a nicely wrapped package. For a moment, I had no idea whether I should accept it or not. Only for a moment, I took the box.
Well, then, I'd best be off.
That's exactly what she would have done had Law not stopped her.
Wait. Lips? Did you stay a while? Okay. With you, Black Iris?
I wonder why she was asking me at all. This was her place out of as well, obviously. Not anyway, I looked happy about it.
You haven't eaten yet, correct? Care to have dinner with us?
But
Also, love to play with Jackal some more? May I?
Whatever doubts lips might have had, they evaporated at this point. She nodded with a smile.
then I'd love to. Thank you very much.
She wiped her feet on the mat. Actually, Jackal came bounding up and imitated his master as well. Came on in. Well, she was proving herself to be quite the host. She led Lips to a chair, for a nice cup of tea, and then went back into the kitchen to get dinner all done. This left Lips and me alone, together in the living room. She looked at me every once in a while. Obviously, there was something she wanted to say. I ignored all that. After cooking was done and the table was set, we took our seats. Lips looked totally amazed by the multi-course banquet that had been laid out in front of her.
Oh, wow. You made all of this? I don't think I caught your name.
No, not all. Black Iris helped too. No, wait. More like he did everything and I helped him.
A few weeks ago, that would have been true. Now it was a lie, though. Lala turned herself into an extremely good cook in the meantime. She'd come a long way, too. At the very first, it was dangerous to even let her handle a knife, but now, she basically ran the kitchen.
Oh, wow. I'm looking forward to this. I haven't eaten home cooking for such a long time now.
Lips said with a gentle shrug. Lala just beamed at her. After dinner, we had coffee and sweets that Lips had brought us. Well, actually, I was the only one eating. Lips and Lala were too busy playing with Jackal to be doing much of anything else.
Lips, you're, your mom's, correct?
Oh, yes, of course. Wait, aren't you one as well?
I'm...
Just my guess. I completed the sentence for her, as she didn't look like she was going to be able to get it out. Lips turned to look at me for a moment. Obviously, this was surprising to her.
I see. You two. Well, see you get along so well that I thought monomicides have been known to move in together, you know.
Oh, no.
You know, it's like clockwork these days. Whenever anyone says something like this to La, she invariably blushed, and furiously at that, in a matter of seconds.
Have you been one for long? On the side, that is?
No, I've just dropped on my first year of service, actually.
I see. Wait. Black Iris, how long have you been one?
About 3 years, I think. We talked about this and that until it became very dark out indeed. Lip stood and indicated that she'd better be heading home. Alright, I'll walk you to the station. Lips nodded silently. Love piped up, said she wanted to come along too. I made her stay at home. I expected her to argue, but she looked at me at once, closed her eyes and nodded. We walked along for a while. We said nothing to each other. Lips kept her eyes fixed on Jackal, kept mine and rode ahead. And when we reached the copse of trees, she began to talk.
Dinner was so delicious. You'll have to tell La thank you for me. Wait, I came to thank you in the first place, and now...
I suppose.
Enough small talk. I'd like you to return what you took from me.
What might that be?
You know as well as I do. You've been holding on to something of mine ever since we bumped into each other at Aroma today.
She stopped and held her hand expectantly. I sighed and smiled bitterly. You say that so shamelessly, as if you had nothing to hide. But tell me, what were you doing with a gun anyhow? She'd been concealing it earlier at Roma, but it was obvious when I bumped into her, which is why I picked her pocket without a second thought. Because no one other than military personnel was supposed to have access to firearms in this town.
Your heart is as black as your hands are sticky, I see.
I'm afraid you have to be more careful about concealing something like this. You're not getting it back. Sorry.
It's for self-protection, I swear. Please, give it back.
Self-protection against whom, I wonder? This town's a peaceful place. Or at least, it would be if not for you and your friends. I brought the envelope out of my pocket. Lips went pale, then started clenching her teeth.
Did you read it?
Obviously. This is a memory list of your terrorist cell, isn't it? Makes me wonder why you even bother. So much for secrecy. Though these are all code names, so there's no way I know who these people really are.
Give it back!
So you're the secret agent investigating the bombings, or you're one of the terrorists. And I happen to know you're no secret agent. She clenched her teeth even harder then. It's a wonder that there were even bits of enamel flying everywhere by now. But for how hard she was grinding her teeth, her glare herself didn't have much, or any, bite. I wasn't afraid.
And what will you do?
I wonder. This isn't proof of anything, after all. Besides, something isn't right here. There's no way you just leave this lying at that aroma, yet you did.
What? Wait, that's...
Which means that it was intentional. Or that you're stupid beyond salvation.
clever of you. So you played dumb in front of La, and yet you knew all along.
No, actually. I had no intention of hiding my cards. Besides, La knows a lot more than she lets on. You'd be surprised. In any case, I'll be holding on to this. And your gun, too. You're free to do whatever you want, of course, but just remember, so am I. I won't hesitate to, if need be. I put the envelope back in my pocket and walked away. Lip stood there for a long time. She didn't look like she really grasped what had just happened. The last I saw of her, She was trudging towards the trolley station in darkness. Things went quiet for a bit. This went on without a fuss. Love went on enjoying everything she could, went on wondering what kind of use I was as a guide. There were no news of bombings or of terrorist groups or of death. No news of lips either. She stopped coming to Roma altogether. Rook was make that insanely unhappy about that last bit. Last time I bumped into her was almost a week afterwards, in broad daylight. We finished eating lunch at Roma as per usual. We were wandering around the area when La found a bookstore. Now, La loved books. She read them voraciously, no matter what genre they were. Short fiction, non-fiction, horror, romance, science fiction, fantasy, BL, she devoured them all. Speaking of which, I had not taken her to the library yet. I promised her that I'd do something some time ago, but then a lot, for instance, the bombings in Lips, happened. Which is why I had totally slipped my mind up to now. To be honest, I felt kind of guilty about that. Well, did you find a book you want to read? Come get me. I'll be waiting over there on the bench. Lod nodded with a smile and rushed into the bookstore. Such a simple thing made her so happy. Made me wish I figured that out about her sooner. Then again, this was the kind of thing that I never noticed until it was too late. I looked around the area. It was largely deserted. Here and there, people went about their business. One of them was walking towards me. I looked closely. This was a face I knew. Then she was standing before me.
I came looking for you after I heard from Rook that you'd gone out shopping.
She asked me if the seat next to me was taken. I motioned her to it. She sat down.
Listen to me. They know the list. I don't think that they know you have it. But still, be careful. You haven't destroyed it, right? If you have, then I can't help you. No leverage, see? So I hope for your sake. Oh, speaking of which, I'd like my gun back, please.
It's too late for any of that. She narrowed her eyes. Obviously, she thought I set a trap for her or something. Just waved her into silence and motioned her to take a look around us. A good long look. You were followed. I stopped her from thrusting about too obviously, then sighed deeply. Looks like I can't help you at all.
I'm sorry.
There's no point in getting angry at her at this point. In any case, one of our mysterious observers were hiding under the eaves of that building over there, but at that range, we probably couldn't make our way out a word of what we were saying. Oh well. Don't worry about it. I'll deal with this myself. We probably ought to go hide somewhere, though. This might get messy.
What makes you think I'll do that? Give me my gun, please.
I have no idea what you're planning on doing, but I'll tell you one thing. It won't work. Let's just clench her teeth again for a time. It seemed like forever. Finally, she nodded, stood, and left. And although they were trying to be inconspicuous, it was obvious that several people were tailing her. One of them, the man from before, stayed in that area, was obviously focusing on me. So I gave no reason for suspicion, waited there for law, and soon enough, she came running towards me with a heavy-looking bag in her hands.
I found lots of books. They all look so fun. Makes me really happy.
For a moment, I forgot all my troubles and smiled back at her. But she already caught on that something was up. She looked up at me gravely. Stood up, began walking down the street. Sure enough, we were being followed.
Black Iris, was that Lips you were with?
Yeah, it was. She seemed like she was in a real hurry.
I see.
She stopped and looked back for a second, disappointment obvious on her face. It was really quite amusing to watch the man almost jump out of his skin, then duck into the store for cover. Oh, la, I have something to do. So, would you mind waiting for me at Aroma?
Huh? Fine, but
I smiled ambivalently. Didn't want to say so much more to her about what was going on at this point, so we headed on over to Aroma. Now, obviously, the people who were tailing me knew all about Aroma. That too, given that they originally been at the lips. A Rook could probably take care of one guy easily, and then some. So after I deposited her inside, I walked back out. My shadow looked a little confused as to whether he should stay and observe Law follow me. Eventually, he chose to come after me. I lost him fairly easily as I made my way back to the back alleys of 6th Street. The cell quarter 6 was a maze of twisty passages, all alike. It was hard to find your way even with a map if you didn't know the area. I wasn't sure that this would be enough, but sure enough, no sign of my follower, so he was even less intelligent than I expected. So I doubled back and started shadowing him. He found his way back to 6th Main Promenade, but now, he walked towards the trolley station. He went right past it. He was heading for 5th Street on foot. 5th Street was filled with residences. I, of course, happened to live in one of these when I wasn't on duty. The man looked to his left, to his right, behind him. He was obviously spooked. Finally, he shrugged and walked into an old apartment complex. Found a hiding spot and waited. My shadow did not re-emerge. Instead, it was another man who stepped out into the daylight. A man whose face I knew. Headed down the street into the trolley station. I stopped my pursuit at this point. There weren't many passengers on the trolley, even on heavy days, so I didn't want to risk discovery. Because if I knew who he was, the opposite had to be true as well. I was nowhere to be found by the time I got back to Roma. My heart sank. I turned to Rook and asked him what had happened.
Oh, yeah. That lady who owns Jackal came by a bit ago. Said you had something of hers that she needed double quick. So La went with her to find you. Why, what's...
I ran out of place before Rook could finish his sentence. Damn it all. It was too late now, but for crying out loud, I should have told Rook that something was up. Liz probably thought that her Liz and her gun were at our place on 8th Street. No wonder, so that's why she went after Law. I caught the next trolley to 8th. The train hadn't even stopped when I jumped off and started sprinting down the streets. We got to the copse of trees, and there was a profusion of footprints all around, big ones, little ones. Law's. This was just getting worse and worse. I checked to see that I had the gun on me. Got ready to whip it out at a moment's notice, kick open the door to our place. The house was completely silent. It had obviously been ransacked. There wasn't a soul around anymore. No, actually, Liz was sitting motionlessly on his living room floor, though I was beginning to doubt that she had a soul. Lips! What'd you do to her? She looked up slowly, as if her mind were swimming in mud. Then her eyes opened wide. She took my arm and refused to let it go. She was shaking.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I thought I lost them for sure, but...
Great. She's going to have to calm down, now. We're just wasting time here. Although I did have one crucial piece of evidence now. It's been followed to our place, so the terrorists knew to strike here.
Sorry about that. I think I'm fine now.
She let go of my arm, took a few big breaths, and began to explain what had happened.
So, I came to your place. I wanted to get my gun back from you. At the very least. But the moment I got into the home, a couple men from the group rushed me. 3, maybe 4. They took me down pretty quickly. La tried to help me, but
She was taken hostage. Was she?
most likely. They'll probably demand the list in exchange for her.
And? Do you know where they are?
I have no idea. They've been operating from an apartment on 5th. But they know something's up now. If they're intelligent and all, they'll have moved to another safe house by now.
Great. Now what? If I proceed about this the wrong way, Lava's going to be in grave danger. I couldn't just sit here and do nothing.
I'm sorry. This all happened because I was sloppy. So I'll make things right. Somehow. I'll be fine.
Said she got off the floor. It certainly didn't look fine. Her face was pale, her legs were shaking a bit. I sighed and stopped her before she went out the door. Appreciate the sentiment, but you better stop.
But
If you fail, then you won't be the only one who dies. Law will too. So that's quite enough out of you. She looked like she was about to cry, out of frustration and anger. I surveyed the wreckage around the room. Poor La. All her tidy housework had gone to waste. Our assailants had obviously been very thorough in their search.
I have to do something. We have to save La.
And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Lips just shook her head violently.
It's my fault this all happened. Yes, that's true. But there's something else. She knew about me. She knew everything. And still, she tried to rescue me.
So you told her about the group then?
Yes. There wasn't any way I could avoid it. She made me say everything. Just what it was you'd taken from me. Just how dangerous it would be. And then she brought me to your place. They tried to take me hostage too. You see, she assured them that she'd be sufficient. They believed her.
Suddenly, a line from a book I once read flashed into my mind. Something about idiocy, claptrap, hysterical folly. Roughly in that order. I also realized, with dawning horror, it was just like law to do something like this.
She's such a good girl. I love her, in my own way. I consider her my friend. That's why I'm coming with you, whether you like it or not.
Very well. I'll have you take no for an answer anyway. Let's get going. The other group tries to contact us. They won't come here to do it. You have a telephone in your place?
No. I don't find it necessary.
Fair enough. Not many people in town had telephones. And the reason for that was simple enough. Many of the guests had an extreme aversion to them. Their incessant ringing. And we better head to Aroma.
I agree. If they decide to get in touch with us, it'll be there.
There's no point in searching around blindly. That would hurt more than it would help. So for now, we're going to have to wait. Knew that intellectually, but still emotionally, it was hard to take. Every moment we sat still was another moment that law was in a hostile party's hands. My fears, however, were unfounded. Rook was waiting for us by the time we got to Roma. There had already been contact.
They want you to bring the list to the old church on 5th in 1 hour, sharp. Now, Would you mind telling me what the hell's going on here?
That's exactly what I did. Rook was more correct than he knew. This was hell, alright. I told him everything. About the gun, the list, La's kidnapping, about how Lips was a member of the terrorist cell. Rook was completely blown away.
You're really with them? No freaking kidding?
No kidding. Although it seems that I've become a traitor.
It was startling to watch the way that Rook was studying Lips now. He wasn't just staring at her the way he usually ogled beautiful young women. No, there's a hard, emotionless glare. He said it for rivals and enemies, like me, sometimes. But I had no time for any of this today. I left Roma with Lips hot on my heels. Rook looked like he was wanting to come with us, but eventually Adam stayed put. Now it was true that someone had to stay behind just in case there was any further contact, but still knew that I was dealing him a harsh hand here. It started snowing by the time we made it to the trolley station. Neither of us had umbrellas. Our heads were dusted with snow. We didn't care. Liz kept pace at my side. Her eyes were straight forward. Her entire body was quivering with tension. And yet, she seemed far more at home within herself now than the first time I met her.
Tommy, how come you're not asking me about the leader of the cell?
Because I know who he is. I saw myself. He's a high-ranking professor of monomisology. Never had a class with him, though.
Right.
That's right, the man I saw coming out of the apartment on Fifth Street. There's no mistaking him. Everyone in my class during my training days knew who he was. I figured like that would have access to every last operational file that HQ had to offer. No wonder nobody had been able to bring these terrorists to justice.
And don't you want to know what our goals are?
Not at all. Told you before, you're free to do as you please in this town. But if you lay so much as a finger on my guess, that's exactly what's happened. And there'll be hell to pay. Liz looked up at me in silence for a time. Then finally she spoke, in a voice as cold as steel.
She's probably safe. It's not as horrible as you're making him out to be.
Not horrible enough to hurt law. Or just horrible enough to explode bombs on innocent people, eh? My, I was so impressed by this compassion. Lips saw the look on my face and smiled painfully.
Very well. I see there'll be no convincing you. So I'll just tell you, whether you believe me or not, that's up to you.
She looked up at the snow-laden clouds, as this were to be the last time her eyes would see them. Then she started to talk.
Total emancipation. They want to break down the bureaucracy. It clearly doesn't work. Homicide should serve anywhere and everywhere, and just in the isolated location.
That's not doing us any favors at all. They constructed this town precisely because it was dangerous for homicides out in the real world. And when homicide's powers and his control over them were incredibly unstable things, and on top of that, most people hadn't even heard of us. If people knew, they were going to have a bloody uprising on our hands nationwide.
Perhaps. But according to him, he wants to make sure monomicides have power. Enough power to help the weak.
The weak? How arrogant. I suppose his goal is to create a new trade network of monomicides and profit until he's filthy rich.
I wonder. Perhaps you're right, perhaps not.
Liv shook her head, then, in a futile attempt to shake off the demons in her heart, there was nothing but confusion and anger and loss in her eyes.
I met him during one of our standardized patient encounters. I was just a student there, and he taught me so well. Speaking of which, tell me, how many years did you graduate in?
2.
The Geniuses Accelerated course. Somehow, I'm not surprised. But you'll excuse me if I'm a little envious. It took me 7 years. In other words, I've been here for far longer than you have.
Lips laughed, her voice filled with self-derision. Obviously, she knew this wasn't something he boasted about.
I entered the academy when I was 12. 12? Can you imagine that? I didn't know anything about monomicide, the world, anything. And on top of that, I was a dunce. No one liked me. No one helped me along. I was so lonely. He was the one. He was the one who came and held my hand. He was the one who told me that it was okay, that I'd turn out fine.
You're in love with him?
Yeah. Or was. Right now, I have no idea. I don't know if I really was in love with him. Or if I was just lonely and willing to accept any companionship that came my way.
She kept talking as if by doing so she'd be able to extract the purest darkness from her heart from the very words that fell from her mouth. Who is she conversing with now? Who is she listening to? Certainly not me.
These are all things I've really come to hate about myself. But I think it might be too late for me now. Would someone like you have any idea how that feels? Probably not.
No, I understand. A little.
Oh,
Lips said with surprise. Then she smiled.
oh, good heavens! Makes you wonder, doesn't it? How come I can't be honest with myself in even one little thing?
That's why you left the list at Aroma? That was your attempt to try to stop yourself from doing anything more? Is that right?
That's right. I didn't have the courage to send it to HQ. But I was hoping. If I got to know the owner of Aroma and accidentally left the list lying around, he would pick it up and take the appropriate steps. And I was pleasantly surprised too. He's a really nice guy. And I've caused him so much trouble now too.
Now, I was glad Rook wasn't here. Had he earned any of this, things would spiral into an uncontrollable depression, into an uncontrollable rage. Either way, something uncontrollable and bad. Been much better had she just been open and honest with us from the very beginning.
And the final nail in the coffin is, my powers are dying. Back in the old day, I used to be able to pick up on people's thoughts a lot more easily. But nowadays, I can't even catch a glimpse. You get kicked out of town if you're not a monomicide anymore, right? That's why. I wanted to put an end to this before I got deported.
I see. I nodded. I had no idea whether it was a good idea to tell her what I was about to tell her. But she looked so sad and alone at that moment that I didn't really have a choice in that matter. A monomicide's powers would inevitably fade when he is filled to capacity.
What?
Or at least that's what the textbooks say. I smiled ambiguously at this. burnout, the signs were obvious. She was very close. If she remained alone in this state for much longer, she was in danger of losing her powers permanently. In some ways, this is the happiest thing that could happen to her, or any monomicide. They were waiting for us at the old church on 5th. Professor and 2 others. Lau was lying motionless on one of the church benches.